This presentation on academic advisor development is just a short overview of the state of training at MCC, sort of the big picture, if you will. Like nearly every other college and university in the country, the academic advising model at Manchester Community College is based on core values and frameworks developed by NACADA, the National Academic Advising Association. NACADA is the major player in advisor research, professional development, and its core values are included as a reminder of how advising impacts our professional lives as faculty, and what a responsibility advisors carry, not just to their advisees, but to themselves and their institutions as well. During the 2012-2013 academic year, the Holistic Advising Work Group, a team comprised of faculty and staff, met to research best practices. The Advising Resource Manual that's available in the Forms Drive, the Advising Drive, and on the new Blackboard site came out of that effort. Part of that group's work involved the creation of a mission statement to guide academic advising at MCC. As you can see, the key elements of the idea that it's a partnership between the academic advisor and the student, and that it really does involve the whole community. During the 2013-2014 academic year, an advisory group was convened to continue the work of that committee. One of the primary needs that got identified by that group was for a comprehensive advisor training program for new advisors and a development program for veteran advisors. A lot of the committee's work over this past year has been in outlining this training and development program. The foundations of advisor training and development at Manchester Community College align with those set by NACADA, who recognize a three-part framework to advising: conceptual skills, which is sort of the context for understanding advising and why we do it; informational skills, the nuts and bolts, knowledge of the policies, procedures, degree requirements, and so on that we as advisors need to guide our students; and relational skills, that's our interpersonal communication skills, how we deal with our advisees. There's a long and actually pretty interesting history to academic advising at institutions of higher learning. You don't need it here, but there are a few key players in the development of advising as we know it and do it that are worth learning about. In the early 70s, Crookston changed the view of advising from a prescriptive function, the here student, do this, take this class, to a developmental approach that really positioned advising as a form of teaching. In contrast to that prevalent view of advising as simply a matter of telling students which classes to take when, O'Banion proposed a model for advising where class selection was actually the last thing. It started with life goals, vocational goals, and only then choosing a major. Chickering expanded the focus of advising to view it not only as focused on academics, but really as part of a whole person development. The second of those three foundational pieces is the informational component. That's the how-tos that advisors need to effectively guide students through the programs here to help them navigate the policies and procedures at MCC. It requires, basically, for us to be familiar with the program checklist in effect for a student, to know that it can vary based on admission year so that we're using the right one, and looking at the college catalog for policies, procedures, and prerequisites for courses. It also entails some familiarity with the basic functions of the other offices that students interact with: the registrar, financial aid, the academic success center, the library, student life, and that may be just as basic as knowing to refer a student who's interested in student activities to the student life director. The final piece of that foundation is the relational skills: active listening, open-ended questions that help us interact with the student in a way that moves them towards more independence, more self-advocacy, helping them problem solve, letting us relate to them effectively and communicate clearly. Effective advisors are familiar with the resources of their institution. At MCC, advisors have physical and electronic resources. College Catalog is the best source of information for policies, procedures, course descriptions, prerequisite requirements, co-requisite requirements. Copies of the program checklists and key advising forms like registration forms, course waivers, change of major requests are available in multiple locations. You can find them in hard copy in the Advising Center. They're on the Advising Blackboard site, and there'll be a little bit more on that in a minute. They're available on the Forms drive. For electronic resources, you have Banner or the Student Information System, where you can find a student's major, their year of admission, courses taken, their placement scores. High school or college transcripts can be viewed on the transcript drive. That's the T drive for most of you. There's also a drive that contains information put down by and for advisors, a student's checklist, official records of courses taken in, advisor notes, and so on, and that is the V drive. That's going to be phasing out over the next couple of years as we move to DegreeWorks, but for now it's the best centralized electronic resource we have for student record keeping. There are instructions for using it and adding to it in the Advising Resource Manual. One new feature is a chat feature that's like the one used by the library, where a student can check in on the advising page, see that an advisor is available, and chat in real time. We're using Google Calendar to keep track of appointments. And finally, there's a new Blackboard site dedicated to advisors at Manchester Community College with all sorts of resources. The Advising Resource Manual, the Banner Users Manual, every form you could think of, training videos, websites, and so on. One resource that's coming soon and that will phase out the V drive is DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks is an interface, a program that works with Banner, so you don't have to, but it's nicer, it's friendlier, and students can access it as well. Once DegreeWorks is up and running, you can use it to send notes and messages back and forth with students. You can run degree audits at the push of a button, keep much more accurate records, and students can also access it to track their progress, to communicate with their advisors, and to plot out their degrees. During the craziness of peak weeks, it's really easy to lose sight of the difference between advising and registration. But hopefully with the training efforts that we'll have over the year, we'll be able to keep that focus on true advising. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the Blackboard site and to the other training components. Please use the discussion forum there to let me know what you like, what's missing, what might need some configuring, and let me leave you with the thought about the importance that good advising may be the single most underestimated characteristic of a successful college experience. So, a little bit of something to reflect on for the coming year.